College recruitment starts with you. What steps are you taking today to earn an athletic scholarship tomorrow? Welcome back to another episode of Full Ride, powered by URECRUITU. This is your head coach, Kito Delgado, and I am excited to have you on. Every single Thursday, about 15 minutes, I'm going to outline a winning play that my athletes and my parents can then apply to the recruiting process. And today, what we're going to be talking about is the number one mistake. That's right, the number one mistake, at least in my humble opinion, that recruits and their families make when it comes to college recruiting. But before we get into that, just do some quick housekeeping for you. If this is your first time listening, well, you haven't missed much because it's our official first episode. We did our trailer last week, so I really want to encourage you, if you missed that, pause this episode and then listen to our very first trailer episode, because that's really going to give you a feel for what we are trying to accomplish. And it's also going to give you a better idea about who I am, because I do share part of my recruiting journey with you on that first pilot episode. So definitely want to do that. And you can listen to Full Ride on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. And then all of our show notes can be found at Full Ride and then .libsyn, LIBSYN.com. So fullride.libsyn.com. Would love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions you want to ask us, please submit them there. And I also encourage you, so that you never miss an episode, make sure you subscribe to the show, again, on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. And here's the thing, athletes and parents, particularly if you play like soccer, you play basketball, right? Hockey. Whenever, a teammate throws a nice pass to you and you score, what do? You kind of give them that point. You say thank you. You say good pass, good look, great play, whatever the case may be. You want to give credit to them because they helped you find success, whether it's scoring a goal, scoring a basket, or maybe you're a running back and one of your linemen gave you a great block. Whatever the case may be, as athletes, you always acknowledge the people who help you accomplish that goal, right? And in general, we tend to call that an assist. So one way you can help the show grow, and one way you can help us just expand our reach and get introduced to more families just like you, is by sharing each episode with other families who have athletes, with other families who may be going through this very same process, right? We all want to be one team at the end of the day. We are one team with one common goal, and that is to help our student athletes extend their high school careers playing athletics, beyond high school. We want to help them go to the next level, and oh, by the way, if we can earn a scholarship, that's awesome. So please, help the show. Give us an assist. Give us that point, if you will, at the end of every episode, if we are helpful, by sharing, sharing with a family member or a friend, a teammate on your sport, whatever the case may be. So that's what we got there. That's that housekeeping. And now for the next 10 minutes or so, I just want to really get into what I feel to be the number one mistake high school athletes and their families make when it comes to the recruiting process and what we can do about it, right? Because we want to give you that winning play. There's an old saying, there's a quote that I really like. And that quote goes by, I don't know who said it, but they say, people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. People don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. And I hear that quote, and I really think that right there is the number one mistake our high school athletes and their parents make when it comes to college recruitment. Now, before I drill too deep into this, I want to be fair. Obviously, if a student athlete doesn't have skills, they don't work hard, they have a bad attitude, they don't have the grades, okay, those are definitely mistakes. But those aren't mistakes. That's just, I don't consider that to be a mistake. You're just not working hard. I'm talking about if you are, a very good player, you have good grades, you have a good attitude, all that stuff, you're a good teammate, and your goal is to get to college. I'm now saying the biggest mistake you often make is that you fail to plan. You fail to have a game plan. And I'll drill down even further. And because you don't have a game plan, you take a wait and hope approach. You sit back and then you just hope that college coaches will just come knocking on your door. They're just going to find you. They're just going to appear out of thin air. They're going to knock on your door. They're going to just start following you on social media. They're going to just call you out the blue. They're going to start attending your games. It doesn't happen for most of us. Again, I say most because on my first episode, I did reveal how I came from a very small high school. And I had to actively go out and work to get my scholarships. They didn't just come knocking on my door. So that right there is the number one mistake you make. You sit back and you hope, you have no plan whatsoever. And then what ends up happening is, for many of you, your high school career ends in disappointment from a standpoint of, wow, I wanted to keep playing, but no one recruited me. And many of you just accept the fact and assume that you just weren't good enough. That's why you weren't recruited. And I'll just tell you right now, that's probably far from reality. I'd say you probably are good enough to play at the next level if you're serious, if you put in the work. But whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III, doesn't matter. You probably have what it takes to play. You just didn't have a game plan. You literally entered the game without a playbook. It's just that simple. So, what is it that you can do to avoid that from taking place? Right? So we've identified the problem, which is many of you fail to plan. Many of you take a wait and hope approach. And now I'm telling you, that's a mistake. That's the number one mistake you can make. So let's not let that happen. What can we do about it, though? What's the winning play that you guys can apply this week? Well, hearkening to a very successful NFL team. Now, full disclosure, I don't root for these guys at all. Matter of fact, I can't stand them. But you have to recognize what they do. You have to recognize the level at which they do it and how consistently they do it. And that is the New England Patriots. The Patriots, they have a motto, Coach Belichick. I'm not making this up, Google it. But their motto is, just do your job. Just do your job. And I want to tell you, family, when it comes to recruiting, each of you has a role to play. Each of you has a job to fulfill. It's not just the athlete doing all the work. It's not just mom and dad doing all the work. It's a collective effort. You guys should all be involved in this process. Every single one of you. Because I can just give you a few things that each of you can do, either individually or at some points together as a team. And if you really think about it, yes, it's going to be hard at times. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be tiring. It's going to take a lot of energy. You're going to have your highs. You're going to have your lows. No doubt about it. So I'm not telling you, you're going to have a school that's recruiting you and then it's going to fall off the face of the earth. It's going to hurt. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But I am telling you it can be easier if you have a plan. You all understand the role that you play. And then you all just do it collectively. Make it as fun as possible. Hold yourselves accountable to doing your job. So what types of jobs can each of you do? Obviously, athlete, one of your jobs is to work on your craft. That has to be your number one priority. A close second, get those grades to where they need to be. Get your grades to where they need to be. Quick side note, you really should be joining us every Monday night on our Instagram page at URECRUITU and on our Facebook page. Just search URECRUITU. And the reason why is because we go live for study hall. About 15, 20 minutes. And we talk about more of the knowledge of recruiting. So you want to up your knowledge. So Full Ride is more about the winning play that for you to execute on. And then study hall, again, on Instagram Live with our URECRUITU page, or on Facebook, we go live and I talk about more of the knowledge. And this past week, I talked about really understanding your core GPA and how that impacts your eligibility, and how you can, if you have a good core GPA, you can leverage that into scholarship opportunities. So I encourage you, really, go to our Facebook page. First, like it, but then you can look at one of our posts from last Monday night, and you can learn more about that. But I digress. So my point is, I want to touch on that because I mentioned grades. So athletes, work on their craft. Work on, obviously, having good grades. Mom and dad, budget for camps. Mom and dad, I know you want to, cheer your kid on in the stands, but you know what? Another job you could potentially have is recording the games so that you guys can have some highlights, and we'll get to that later on. Practice, this is something you guys can do together. Practice talking to a coach. Mom and dad, you play the coach, ask some basic questions. Athlete, you answer them, so that when coaches do start calling, you are prepared. Mom, dad, and athlete together start targeting your schools. Put together a list of schools. Right? So there's so many jobs. I don't want to get it all away in one episode per se, particularly because we only have 15 minutes. We got about 2 minutes to go. But my point is, I want to give you a few ideas. Right? So now, as a family, as a teammate, you need to think, okay, what jobs am I going to do? What jobs am I going to execute on? So this week, your winning play is very simple. As a family, brainstorm. Think about what roles, think about what jobs each of you can play. Really think about it. But think about these jobs each of you can play, the roles each of you can fulfill throughout this recruiting process. Write them down, put them on a board, whatever the case may be. Hold each other accountable. And you may not think of all of them today. Most likely you won't. But over time, something new is going to come up. And then what you want to do is you want to assign that task to somebody. Because this is an all-in approach you got to take. All-in approach. That's a good start, I think. Week 1's in the books. Your winning play, assign a job, write it down, and then hold yourselves accountable to those jobs throughout this process. And then along the way, as you uncover new things, assign those jobs to one another. That's what we got this week. Again, this is your recruiting coach and athletic scholarship educator, if you will, Kito Delgado. I hope this is helpful. If it is, don't forget to give us that assist. Give us that point and share it with your teammates. Share it with your family members, friends. But until next time, I just want to remind you that college recruitment starts with you. What steps are you taking today to earn an athletic scholarship tomorrow? Be good.